Where am I? The last thing she remembered was calling out Reese's name, right before Caleb covered her mouth with a cloth. Now she was waking up groggily with her face pressed into the dirt. She grimaced as she tried to push herself into a seated position, only to learn that her arms were tied behind her back. Judging by their numbness, they had been that way for a while. Her face stung like she'd been hit, or maybe she was dropped on it when she was thrown into the room. Trinity rolled onto her side and used her shoulder to push herself into a sitting position. Her head and face throbbed. It was difficult to see out of her left eye. There was a slight taste of blood in her mouth and a stinging ache on her lips. She groaned as she took in her surroundings. The room was nearly dark, with just a small lamp near the opposite wall. It was damp and smelled like mold, mildew, and dirt. I must be underground somewhere? Trinity shivered. Trinity. Someone whispered her name. It sounded like Reese's voice, but she couldn't see him anywhere. Reese, Trinity thought. He was in LA. He didn't even know what happened to her. She would have to focus on saving herself. Finally, you're awake. An ominous voice came from the shadows. It was deep, smooth, and vaguely familiar. Who are you? The pounding in Trinity's head made it impossible to trace. Where did she know this voice from? I've been waiting a long time for you, Trinity. The man stepped forward into the dim light. He was about 6 feet tall with hair that was as white as snow, yet he looked no older than 30. His face was long and full of angular lines, but his moonlight pale complexion and bright blue eyes were exactly the same as Trinity's. Who are you? Trinity's voice was much weaker as comprehension washed over her. You've been asleep for several hours. The man didn't move. How are you feeling? Answer my question, Trinity shouted at him. You don't want my full attention yet, child. The man smirked, an oddly calm expression on his face. Trinity didn't know why, but she found it frightening. Be careful what you wish for. What do you want with me? The man began stalking in slow circles around the cold, damp room. I want you home, child, where you belong. He was smiling now, his voice full of false happiness and concern. Home? What do you mean, home? Trinity would not let him see her fear. My home is with my pack, where I belong. That's not where you belong, Trinity. His words cut her deeply, striking her most tender insecurities. I'm certain you know that as well as I do. No, you belong here. A child belongs with her father. My father? Trinity could not contain her gasp. I've been waiting for you, child. All of these years, I have been waiting for the right time for you to return to me. How could you be my father? Trinity scoffed. You look like you're 30 at most. Oh, dear, you have so much to learn. The man shook his head. Looks can be deceiving, especially among those of us with magic. You'll learn for yourself soon enough. I have been leading this coven for over 200 years. Are you telling me that I am half witch? As much as Trinity hated this man, she recognized the opportunity to learn valuable information about herself, to find answers to questions that no one else in her life could answer. But how is that possible? I have wolf traits. I have their enhanced abilities. I can't be a witch. But do you have a wolf? He sounded smug as he grinned at Trinity. She didn't answer him. I know you don't. There's no use trying to hide it from me. You don't have a wolf because wolves are not compatible with us magic users. That is why I created you. Created me? Trinity had had many theories about who her father might be, but this was beyond anything she'd imagined. Yes, I created you, Trinity. I needed someone to be my pawn, my way into the wolf packs, and that's where you come in.
Want to know what happens next? Click on the link in the description below to watch further episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.